I know, Jesse Gender reviewing a Star Wars thing, not a Star Trek thing? What is this, the Mirror Universe? But yes, I know it's crazy, everybody, but I'm going to be giving you my review of the very first episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 1, The Marshal. Yeah, that title's not confusing at all. I am going to be doing this review full spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it. But if you have seen the episode or don't mind any spoilers, I'm going to just go full bore into all of my thoughts. So first things first, before I get into the actual discussion of this episode, I feel like it needs a little bit of context on my thoughts on the first season of The Mandalorian, because a lot of my critiques of this episode are kind of coming off of my thoughts of the first season. A lot of people really seem to highly enjoy The Mandalorian Season 1, and I certainly understand why. A lot of Disney Star Wars has been incredibly frustrating, to say the least, and I'm definitely someone who has felt that, even though I'm someone who was, trending a bit more positively on the Star Wars films that Disney has produced, but even I was kind of just really frustrated and ultimately just kind of emotionally divested from the Star Wars franchise as a whole after The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi. So I understand when people went and saw the first season of The Mandalorian why they were so galvanized and excited about it, because it was something that felt good and removed from all the toxicity and vitriol and frustration and disappointment that really came with the Disney Star Wars films. Because The Mandalorian was something that was solid. It was good. It felt like it wasn't rocking the boat, but giving us something that felt true and core to Star Wars without being too controversial or crazy. But many of you out there know me as a person and know that I am someone who appreciates the ambitious show more than I appreciate something that does something that is just kind of fine and there. And unfortunately, that's what Star Wars The Mandalorian felt to me, at least the first season. It all felt just kind of fine. While I appreciated a lot of the Star Wars aesthetic and the return to form for Star Wars that The Mandalorian represented, there was nothing really all that much in the first season of The Mandalorian that I really grasped onto as something that I really loved and enjoyed. There were a few moments of things that I thought were interesting, such as the sort of building out of the post-Empire Star Wars universe and sort of seeing the remnants of what the Empire was at that point with, Werner Herzog and things like that, and the Child and things like that, and also the building out of the Mandalorian culture. I really enjoyed all of that stuff, but most of the stories throughout the first season felt like they were very self-contained, and self-contained isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they didn't necessarily do anything exciting or interesting. They felt like they were just sort of one-off, kind of western-y vibe episodes of television that kind of harken back to, like, I won't even say like the 50s or 60s of TV, back when we had like westerns every single week. And it didn't really feel like it was pushing the boundaries of storytelling in any way that I found particularly interesting. And in a lot of ways felt like it was just sort of like signposting, like, here's the things that you like about Star Wars. I think one of the most egregious examples of that is in the, I think, 4th or 5th episode where they go back to Tatooine and Mos Eisley, and there's literally a dude hanging out in the bar who's dressed like Han Solo sitting in Han Solo's seat. And so all that kind of frustrated me with The Mandalorian. I didn't think The Mandalorian Season 1 was by any means bad, but I didn't find it all that fascinating. And so I was kind of surprised by everyone being so high on it, when I kind of found it to just be fairly fine. I didn't hate it, but not super interesting. But I know that goes back to my taste as someone who is extremely more interested in something that is ambitious, even if it fails. See Star Trek Discovery Season 1 and 2. I think those seasons are messy and chaotic, but much more ambitious in their attempts, and that's why I kind of appreciate them, even when they don't always hit that home run that they're aiming for. So with all that preface, getting into this episode of Mandalorian Season 2, I'm kind of seeing a lot of the same problems that I had with The Mandalorian, at least starting off this season. There's a lot to really love here in this episode. I think the production value and especially the music are spot on. This feels like Star Wars. I love the mix of digital sets that they use, the sort of new like LED screen technology that they use throughout the show, and mixing it with a lot of actual practical effects and practical production designs and armor and costume design. You can really feel that there's a lot put into the production of this, even more so than I think Star Trek being sort of the next obvious high-budget television sci-fi out there right now. I really think you can tell that Disney is putting the money where their mouth is with this show and really making it feel like it matches up even with the high-budget film Star Wars, and I really do appreciate that. And you can also see that in some of the aesthetics here. Outside of some minor like things here and there, like backgrounds being a little bit more empty than you would see in a big budget thing, and that just sort of has to do with them using the LED technology that they've been talking about behind the scenes with the show. But overall, it really, really works. I also really love as I mentioned before, the Western aesthetic, the Western vibe. That really fits Star Wars and this sort of lower on the ground feeling for Star Wars that The Mandalorian is going for. And I really appreciate that. I really love that we're getting to see Star Wars in a different level than the sort of like high soap opera-y grand stuff that we get with the big budget films. Even in the animated shows, like with the Clone Wars, it still was kind of hitting that sort of like grand war thing going on, even when it was dealing with things like the Clone Troopers. This feels gritty, it feels ground level, and that Western aesthetic really, really fits it. There's also some really wonderful small moments throughout this episode that I really highly enjoyed, such as the moment where the Mandalorian first meets the marshal of the town that he goes to visit. There's a great moment where he's sort of looking for the Mandalorian that might be in town, finds out that it's the marshal, and the marshal sort of takes off his helmet, and we sort of get this like brilliant acting by Pedro Pascal, who's just sort of doing a lot of physicality acting of the fact that we know taking off the helmet is a big thing for Mandalorians, and so this guy is definitely not a Mandalorian, and that comes across in Mando's reaction just physically to this guy taking off the helmet. And so I greatly appreciated those small moments of story here and character beats that sort of flesh out the world building. And I also should say the grand epic scale and battle at the end of this episode is amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anything so visually cool and stunning and just epic in Star Wars at all. Like I don't even think that something like the end of The Rise of Skywalker with all of its ships and crazy stuff felt like it had the weight in terms of visuals and visual storytelling that final battle in this episode against the Krayt Dragon had. It was all just spectacularly done from a production standpoint. Just wonderful job. I also do like some of the small, subtle storytelling that is going on in this episode, such as, for example, the fact that the Marshal is wearing Boba Fett's armor that he clearly lost at the end of Return of the Jedi when he was swallowed up by the Sarlacc pit, and then the reveal at the end of the episode that we have potentially Boba Fett is watching from a distance, either that or it's some sort of clone trooper, but I highly doubt that. It's played by the actor who is known for playing the clone troopers, but I would be surprised if it is a clone trooper, that's not Boba Fett, who, as we all know, is a clone of Jango Fett, just like all of the clone troopers were. And I like those sort of small, subtle background elements to this episode that didn't necessarily beat you over the head with Star Wars, but were there for you to connect with the larger Star Wars galactic storytelling. But getting back to my core issues with this, though, I just sat through this episode and felt like I didn't care all that much, because I sat watching this and just realized halfway through was, what does this matter? What is this telling me or teaching me? What is the story going on here? What's the themes at play? For example, what did this episode really tell us about the character of Mando? There were some episodes last season where we got to dig into the character of Mando and learn a little bit more about him, like his PTSD around droids, why he didn't trust droids, things like that. But this episode, I didn't feel like I learned anything. He was going to get the armor from this Marshal guy. He was trying to learn about other Mandalorians to protect the child. He shows up, he deals with the situation, and then he takes the armor. But there's no real character development there. I even thought that maybe by the end of the episode, he would let the Marshal, who has proved himself in battle and been like a good comrade in arms, keep the armor. But he doesn't. He just says like, well, I did it, I take it, and I'm off. And I appreciate that the Mandalorian is a guy who is just sort of, he's just going to do his job and go on. I appreciate the sort of cold callousness to him. but I didn't feel like we learned anything about him through this episode. He just shows up, does a job, and moves on. And again, that would be fine if this was a series that was sort of a vehicle for telling other stories, like something like other Western stories from like the 60s, where really the main character is just a vehicle to show up and you get sort of the town or the people in the town dealing with stuff, and really the characters and themes and ideas that come out of the episode are really drawing from them rather than your main character who's just sort of an empty shell. So you can definitely have that type of storytelling. Mad Max is another series that does that, for example. Mad Max is just sort of a blank slate character who shows up and everything else around him is much more interesting than him as a character. And Mando kind of fits that. But here in this episode, the village didn't really touch on that either. There's sort of gestures at interesting stories with the grudging like alliance between the Tusken Raiders and the townspeople, and I like that sort of building off of Star Wars history of the Tusken Raiders not being people that, you know, regular townsfolk on Tatooine trusted. But there's never any real depth to that. They're just sort of like, yeah, we don't trust the Tusken Raiders because the Tusken Raiders, and there's like argument between the two of them, and then they fight the thing. But there's no even like end scene where they're like, yeah, we're gonna work together now, or like this alliance is somewhat uneasy, but we've learned to appreciate each other. But maybe it'll break down pretty quickly. There's none of that. It's just sort of a veneer of this like battle between these two factions and them coming together to fight this Krayt Dragon. Similarly, too, we get sort of gestures at the backstory of the Marshal and sort of learning how he came to protect the town and he used the armor to protect everyone. Again, kind of going to that idea of why I thought that the Mandalorian was going to let the Marshal keep the armor at the end of the episode, because he had just sort of used it to protect the town, and maybe the Mandalorian was going to learn that this guy needed it and earned it in some way and had become like a Mandalorian in spirit. But again, there's nothing really there for any of that. We just learned this guy's backstory, and there's nothing that comes out of that. It's just we learned this guy's backstory because it's somewhat nominally interesting because we see some references to the Return of the Jedi there. But otherwise, it just didn't feel like it was all that fascinating or deepened the story or plot or themes of this episode in any way. Though I will say I did really like Timothy Olyphant playing that character. I think Timothy Olyphant is a fantastic job, as we've seen in the current season of Fargo going on, where I think he has a much deeper and richer character there than he does here. So he does a great job with what he has for the character, but there's not really much to him. So ultimately, while the production value was cool, the design was cool, I like the return to form in terms of aesthetic and storytelling, and the storytelling was solid and fine, I'm ultimately feeling that this show feels empty. It doesn't feel like it was saying anything to me or talking to me or doing anything interesting in terms of larger themes. I mean, look at the opening of the episode as well as like a clear example of this entire problem in microcosm. The opening sequence is incredibly well done. I like that it's showing us a little underground world of the Star Wars universe, showing us a different shade of the Star Wars universe. That's interesting, but the actual scene itself all feels fairly standard. Like, I knew what Mando's one-liners were going to be before he even says it. Like when the guy says, well, you're not a gambler, I knew that he was going to say, I'm not. It all just felt predictable and standard and kind of empty, and I feel like the world around the character is so much more interesting, but we don't get to delve into it. Instead, focus on this storyline that is just more paint by the numbers and kind of devoid of any interesting themes or ideas. So while I enjoyed the hour of TV that I got, I don't sit here thinking about it for any longer than, once I finish this video. Once I'm done filming this, I will probably forget this whole episode even existed and probably wouldn't have even talked about it if it wasn't a Star Wars show. While Star Trek Discovery and other Star Trek shows may be a bit messier in some people's opinion, I have a lot of thoughts and ideas that come out of those shows because they're at least trying to hit at something, and they may fail, but at least they're trying to go for that big idea, that big thing, trying to tell me something and make me think about something, even if it gets messy sometimes in the weeds, especially with season 1 and 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Season 3, I think, is doing a little bit better in that regard. But Mandalorian just leaves me feeling like, yeah, I guess that was an hour of television that distracted me and I thought was well done, but ultimately I'm just kind of left feeling cold by it and not all that engaged intellectually by it. And I think that that's kind of my big problem with Star Wars right now is I just sort of don't care. It feels fine. It tastes okay because it's Star Wars. I enjoy it, but I just don't care all that much. And that's sad for a franchise that at one point I cared about almost as much as I did Star Trek. And so I'll continue watching The Mandalorian. If you want me to keep reviewing it, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. But I really just am kind of saddened by the fact that I don't care all that much about this character and this galaxy that I really loved just a short time ago. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the very first episode of Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 2. But did you disagree with me? Do you think I'm being overly harsh on it? Did you like the first episode? I totally am willing to hear out thoughts. You know me, I like to engage and be proven wrong and listen to all of you guys out there. So let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to hear more of these reviews of The Mandalorian and my discussions on Star Trek, I might do more Mandalorian reviews. So let me know if you want me to continue that. And yeah, let's just get the discussion going. And as always, I hope that you live long and prosper. A huge thank you to my amazing patrons who make this channel happen, and an extra special thank you to Miranda Janelle, Ashley Allen Bokikio, Eli Berg-Moss, Ashlyn Solstice, Christina Dalliance, Greg Gillum, Stephen Kleinard, Boyd and Mary Beth Earl, Wellington Marcus, Wayne Twitchell, Buttoneer, Ish the Mad, Munir Amlani, John Steele, Gavin Robinson, William Stewart, Michael Beam, Spock TOS, BBD, Nathan Olson, The Sir Spence, Zach Cody, Bree Beecher, Maeve, Chloe Dollar, Subraxis, Wen Dizzle Bizzle, Tanya Trummer, Gretchen Badger, Dante St. James, Polly Mina, Piston Twisted Garage, Mark the Edge, and Din. I could not do this without all of you, so thank you so much, especially this month.